Hey guys, welcome back to this lecture, Container Exporter. In this lecture, we will learn about the applications of Container Exporter, how we can use it, and what metrics it get us. Okay, so let us quickly jump onto the demo now. Now, suppose you got a scenario where you are running your application in the Docker containers, and you want to monitor the containers for their uptime, let's say for their resource usage and rest. So for that, container exporters come handy. So you can run container exporter as a container in your Docker environment, and you can start monitoring your all the rest of the containers. Okay, now let us quickly start the container for container exporter. So I'll be using the uh, container exporter image from Docker Hub. Okay, and let us quickly create the container for that. So I will run this command here. I'll port 9104 port. So by default, container exporter uses 9104 port, and I will mount the control groups from my underlying host to the container. Okay, so this is how this image is designed. The same way I am implementing it. So the next mount I'll create for the Docker daemon, because the container uses the underlying host Docker socket to communicate with other containers. So I will make it where run Docker sock, and then on the right side I'll give the path of container where run docker.sock. Okay, so this is basically Docker socket file. Now I need to provide the image name, container exporter. I will hit enter here. Okay, so it has started my container. Now let us see whether we are getting the metrics for this container exporter on this port. Now let us quickly copy this URL here. Please do not forget to remove the HTTPS from the front, because we have not implemented the TLS in this endpoint. And also let us update the port number here and append the metrics subpath. Okay, so here we can see a lot of container related metrics: container CPU throttle periods, BLKIO, CPU usage per second for different modes, container last seen, container memory failures. So this gives you all the major metrics related to your containers. So now it's time we visualize these metrics inside the Prometheus. Now for that, what we need to do, we need to first create a target in the Prometheus configuration file for this, and then we will go ahead. So let us duplicate the shell here and create a new session where I'll update the Prometheus file, configuration file. Okay, Prometheus dot view Prometheus.yaml. Here I'll create a new job for my new endpoint. I'll give the name as job name equals to, let's say, container exporter. Okay, this is my job name. I'll give the static config because I know the endpoint is static here. It would not change with the time. And here in the target, I'll give the IP and port combination for container exporter. So I'll use the string from here because the private IP is same in both the jobs, but I'll just change the port number here. Okay, so I've changed the configuration here. I'll save it, and now it's time to restart the Prometheus container to see the changes. So let me copy it and then paste it here, and then it gets restarted. Now let us see whether our Prometheus container comes up. Okay, it is working fine. Now it's time we refresh the Prometheus console. Let us go to targets. Oh, great! That was very quick. We can see container exporter job already visible here, and the endpoint is up and healthy. Okay, now it's time we visualize the metric related to container in the Expression browser. So for that, let us type container here. Now we can see all the container related metrics here. Let me use the CPU usage seconds total here. I'll execute it. Okay, now here I can see there are different metrics. Okay, and here the job name is container exporter, but the thing that you want to uh, monitor is that your container name differs here. Okay, so this basically tells Okay, these are the containers under the monitoring. So if you notice here, there are 3 containers which are currently monitored by container exporter, and for each container we have 2 set of time series. One is for kernel, one is for user. Okay, the same is for the two. So if I show you the container name, please note it down, determine Feynman. And if we go to our container, so determined Feynman is this container. Okay, so it is bringing up the container name as a key value pair. Okay, in the name label name it. So this was about this lecture. This is how we integrate container exporter with the Prometheus, and we can take the benefit of it. I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you.